Hi friends, welcome. I am Leigh Koechner. Today is day 18 of ownership, 33 days to a happier life. Let's start with 3 breaths. If you would join me in putting your feet on the floor, your hands on your lap. And when you breathe in something you want more in your life. And as you breathe out, release something that no longer serves you or you're ready to let go. So I'm going to breathe in love, and I'm going to breathe out impatience. All right, join me in through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. In through your nose and out through your mouth. All right, you guys, today with ownership, we are getting tough. We're gonna get tough. Today's is called Crush the Voice. Crush it. Now, we have talked about negative thoughts and how you can start to become aware you are not your thoughts, you are not your mind, you are way bigger than that. So before I've said stop the spinning wheel, take the thought out and look at it, realize it's not who you are, put it back in. Today I want to share how you can crush the crippling voice in your head. Now, I've talked in the past about my story of unworthiness, that's been kind of my life pebble I've been living under since my childhood because my mother was mentally ill. She didn't get out of bed for me, so I interpreted that as I wasn't even good enough for my own mother to get out of bed for. So I lived for that for a long time, and then in around 30 I went to therapy actually and started healing and started learning why I was behaving the way. I used to have like a big shield around me, tough as nails. I didn't give a shit. I ran fast and hard. And then as I got to know myself and as I got to soften and learn why I behaved that way and why I had to create that shield, it started to melt. And it's been melting ever since. And then about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I kept having all of these things I wanted to share bubbling up in my body. And then my unworthy voice, which was then probably melted down to around my kneecaps or a little bit lower, would tell me, who do you think you are to share information? You don't have a degree, you're not a doctor, you haven't written a book, all of the kind of stupid stuff that we say to ourselves. So I met a gal named Gina Murdoch, and she works a lot with Deepak Chopra. And so I thought, I'm going to push it here. I'm going to ask for what I want. I'm going to go out on a limb, even though I feel stupid and silly, and I don't think I have the right credentials. I reached out to my friend and I said, could you get me a speaking engagement at Deepak Chopra's center? And she replied, no, because to be at his center, you have to have written a book or be a doctor, which were the 2 things that I kept limiting myself. So it was interesting that was my feedback. But she said, but my friend runs a place in Irvine called the Center for Living Peace. It's a beautiful small space. And I think that I could talk to her about you doing some workshops there. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that felt good, because the other one was really big. And then this one was more intimate and small. So I said, yes. So I called the place. We agreed that I would do us 5 sessions, 5 workshops. I wrote them, I created them, and I went down to do my first one. And this is where we're going to talk about crushing the voice. At this point in my life, I felt like my suit of armor, kind of my old unworthiness, was now like a shackle and a ball. What's that called? Like a ball and chain around my ankle. So it was still there, but I was moving freely, but it was dragging me around every once in a while. So I went that day to Irvine and I showed up, and the little space, beautiful space, holds about 40 people, and every seat was taken. And I looked out in the crowd and I saw some of my friends, and I saw people I didn't know, and I saw all these people who showed up for me, and my ball and chain started whipping around and banging all over my body. And it was saying, what are you doing? You don't know what the hell you're doing. You can't even remember the first thing you're supposed to say. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to get away. And all these people were going, hi, we're excited. And I was like, I don't know who I am. And then all of a sudden I was like, Leigh, get yourself together. And I ran around a corner to hide, to just close my eyes and to breathe and to say a prayer. And like 3 women came around and goes, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're back here. And I was like, in my head going, I'm not glad you're here. Get away from me. I'm panicking. Can't you see? So anyway, the women talked to me for a second, and I said, hey guys, would you mind if I took a second by myself before I walked out? Well, really, I was drowning and my ball was beating me up so hard I was going to fall. So luckily, they listened and moved. I took a deep breath in. And in that moment that I took a deep breath, my mind stopped spinning and I heard a voice within me that said, "They're waiting for you." The voice was so clean and so pure and so right with the reality is they are waiting for you. What are you doing back here, a dancing spin, beating yourself up with a ball and chain? I heard this, they're waiting for you. And I was like, you're right. And I just walked straight forward without another breath or thought, walked in front of the crowd of 40 people, looked at them and said, "You guys, I'm so glad you're here. I am so honored to be here in front of you guys tonight. Here's what I have planned." And I went. And I swear, as I spoke and as I moved about and as I owned my information and my wisdom and my power and I stood up for myself in such a powerful way for me, breaking through my story of unworthiness and showing up for these people and allowing myself to share information that needed to be heard instead of spinning in my own crap, which is so selfish. Our spinning is so selfish and it holds us so limited and low and in such bullshit stories. But as I allowed myself to share, the links on this chain around my ball and chain were starting to break. And I was moving more freely and I was owning my body and owning the space and owning the information that I know. And literally halfway through it, I felt like that ball broke, the chain broke open. That clamp around my ankle broke open and fell to the ground. And as I kept walking and I was free in what I'm supposed to be doing, it broke up into tiny pieces and blew away. That's literally how it felt. And that ball that I had been carrying around, still so fearful of taking a big risk and so fearful of being embarrassed and so fearful of being judged and so fearful, literally collapsed as I stood forward in my power. It was the most unbelievable thing that I've experienced. It was really when people say that you're afraid of something, do that thing you're afraid of, because what you're going to find out is that fear was a joke. If you get on an elevator and you're scared and you think you're going to die, get on one. You're not going to die. If you think you're going to ask something and people are going to laugh and make fun of you, ask it. Who cares if they laugh? You can't get what you want if you don't ask. You can't achieve and step into who you're supposed to be if you don't take risks. So today I say, let's crush the voice. We're not going to look at it. We're not going to think it. We're not going to redirect with it. We're going to crush it. So today, do something that you have been fearful of doing. Call the person you've been fighting with to apologize. All they could say is screw off and hang up, and you're in the same boat you were in before. Or they could say, oh my gosh, my heart has been so heavy. I've been afraid to call you. I didn't even think you wanted to talk to me because I've been spinning in my story too. So you can do these. Crush the story. Crush them. Crush them. Take the pebble off that's holding you back and crush it. You can thank it if you want to, or you can say, I don't need you anymore. Literally. When I stepped forward that day, when I asked her to speak at Deepak Chopra's thing years ago and she said no, I asked and I was embarrassed and she said, no, you have to have the things you think you have to have. But here's something else. It led to something else that allowed me in a better place to step up, to prepare me to go to his place. Do the thing that makes you afraid. Take the voice that says you're not good enough, you're not funny enough, you're not smart enough, you're not qualified enough. That's a joke. Because you are, anything that is feeding you and eating you and telling you you're supposed to be doing something, you're supposed to be doing that. So today, I want you to think of something that you've been afraid to doing. One of my girlfriends the other day said she wants to write a one-woman show, but instead she has to focus on finding a job to help pay the bills. And I was like, oh, the magic of doing what you love and getting paid for it, being seen in your element. So if you are going to go get a job to help pay the bills, right on, good for you. Pick one that makes you excited, number one. And as you do that job, at lunch break, write your one-woman show. Write the things. Make out your vision dream board of who you would want to direct it, co-write it with, stage block it with, where you want to perform it, where it's going to go and what it's going to do. Just because you're sitting somewhere working to pay the bills doesn't mean you can't move forward in your dream. Use that as a foundation to fulfill your dream. That day, I crushed that paralyzing thought that I couldn't do it, I wasn't good enough. And it will never come back. Yeah, sure, I get insecure and I feel silly and I wonder every time I sit down, I'm like, am I ready? Am I prepared? Did I write right? Just do it. I'm just doing this and it's filling my heart. I'm not listening to you're not ready. What are you going to do? Who are you talking to? Who cares? Do what you love and know that you're going to be rewarded for it. Crush the voice. Crush it. Say screw you and crush it. Okay, here's my quote. I crush you, voice, and I blow you away like pixie dust. And watch it fly away and turn into some beautiful butterflies or sprinkle around love around you. Let's crush the voices, you guys. Let's live our asses off today. Okay. Dear God, I am grateful for friends that show up, that I can be vulnerable with and take a chance and a risk with, and be rewarded in a way I didn't think of, but was actually better than what I thought would be good. God, be with us as we have these thoughts that show up. Be with us to have the power to realize they're not who we are and they're just thoughts that are holding us back, and let us crush them and blow them away. I send love and light out to everyone who is joining me here today, and to the whole world, and to myself. Amen. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me on today, day 18, and I will see you tomorrow for 19. And we are more than halfway through, guys. And know that at the end of this, you're going to be happier because you can go back and use these tools. You can practice them every day. You can write all of them down on a chart and pick which one you need at the certain time and reflect back, because you have everything inside of you you need to thrive on this planet. Peace out. I have to show my tattoos. Okay.